Okay, I'm just going to do a short video on my 2015 Vivaro 1.6 bi-turbo Sportive. I'm doing it basically because most of the reviews online are by people, journalists and dealers who are just doing a sort of drive it for a day and give their opinion, whereas I've had this vehicle now for 12 months. I've done about 11,000 miles on it, so just a few points that I like about it, a few things I don't like about it. So I mean, straight in, I got it in it's a Sportive, which is basically got some extra bits and pieces on it, color coded body mouldings, leather steering wheel, some nice bits like fog lights, reversing sensors, cruise controls, that kind of thing. I'm getting on average about between 600 and 650 miles to a tank, which I think is pretty good. It's a little bit better than the old 2-litre Sportive I used to have, but that is sort of half loaded, maybe 500 or 600 kilograms of kit on the back all the time, mostly round and about, not too many long journeys. I think that's about sort of 37-38 miles per gallon. This is the 140 PS version, which is indicated by the red B and the I on the bi-turbo there. It's got lots of go. I use it in the eco button most of the time for a little bit of extra fuel economy, but a nice feature is on this vehicle is, even if it's in the eco, if you push your foot right down, it cancels out the eco and gives you the sort of full beans. Stop start's another feature which I don't particularly use, but you can deactivate it. You have to turn it off or leave it on every time you start the vehicle. Cruise control's really nice, nice and easy to use. Bluetooth connectivity on the radio I find really good, although I have seen a few reports on the internet and a few forums that there seems to be a bit of a problem with the radios connecting to Bluetooth, and they have a bit of a meltdown, so I think it's becoming a bit of a known issue. The gear shift and clutch is nice and light, and I didn't mention this has only got a 1.6 diesel engine in, which does seem a bit small, but it has got lots of go, and with the bi-turbo it does pull from low down. Brakes are good. I do find the front brakes though, if you're heavy on them, they do sound quite noisy from the cabin, and I presume that's perhaps just noise transfer. Inside's really nice. There's lots of adjustment on the seats. Again, this particular model has got the split sort of seats in the middle there. Lots of adjustment on the driver's seat, which is good. And the other thing that I didn't particularly like on the old model was the mirrors. These mirrors do seem much better, and there's not as much blind spot, and I'm quite tall, so I sort of saw above them. So they're a lot of the things that I kind of like about it, and overall I've been really happy with it. I mean, I have, as you can probably see, fitted some alloy wheels on it and some sidebars. So the things that aren't so fantastic is, and again, they're just small niggles, nothing major. There's no adjustment on the armrest here, so it's sort of either up out the way or down, and I would have liked it just to be a little bit higher. The other thing is this dash binnacle in here. Whoever designed that didn't have commercial vehicle users in mind, because it's an absolute dust trap. Really difficult to clean all the dust out. Other little niggly things. The radio, as I said, it works really well, but I mean, I work in the construction industry, so say if you've got a bit of a rainy day and you're having to wait in the van for a bit, the radio only stays on for, I think it's maybe 10 or 20 minutes, and then it turns itself off automatically. And again, the same can be said for the interior lights. in the load compartment, they only stay on for about 4 or 5 minutes, even when you've switched them to constant. Now, obviously, I presume it's an eco type thing, and it's got perhaps a smaller battery, and they want to reserve the power. But it's still irritating in the winter if you're, you know, loading and unloading a lot of gear and the lights go off. Another kind of niggle was, again, I kind of understand why they've done it. Probably, you know, they're looking at the combi market and the people carrier market, but black, what were they thinking? All of this blackness in here, you know, it looks pretty sharp when you first pick it up, but if you're connected with anything that's got dust involved, it's just an absolute dust trap. And I'll say the same for the seats. I can't get them up, but in the Sportive here, the seats are like jet black, and you know, you're not going to stay looking clean for very long. Another little niggle is the wipers. You know, they look really good, like aero, but they don't work fantastically well. Certainly when you get sort of up to the top part of the screen, they tend to not do their job as well as they could. Other little, just tiny things, the door handles seem sort of very notchy, a bit like, you know, they want sort of lubing or loosening up, and whether they will loosen up, I don't know. And again, with this one being a Sportive, I mean, the last Sportive I had a 2007. Part of the Sportive spec was an alarm, and this one hasn't got one. But you know, overall, I'm really pleased with the vehicle. I hope it serves me as well as my last one. And I had the last one for 8 years, and it never let me down once. So you know, it's early days with this van. But you know, fingers crossed, it should do the trick. So, you know, just a little review, really, just a sort of real world review rather than a sort of clinical, you know, auto mag type thing. So enjoy.